Hello friends, in this video we'll be showing you that how do you start initially with the Stoxxo and configure your multi-leg options module or start trading as well as explore the multi-leg features with endless possibilities that it has for your options based trading. Just to begin with, Stoxxo is primarily a desktop based application, a Windows desktop based application to be more precise, and everything, every trade signal, every trade data is stored locally in your PC, unlike the web-based systems which compromise your data by jeopardizing it over the third-party servers. So when it comes to Stoxxo, we proudly say that we guarantee 100% trade signal security. Now, just to begin with, as a new customer, you will visit the website algobaba.com and you can see here the download trial option. The moment you click that, a setup will start or begin to download on your PCs. Okay, you can even run it on VPS if you have access to it, or else any Windows based system. We recommend having Windows 10, but the Stoxxo will perform on Windows 7 as well, with at least minimum requirement of Service Pack 1. Okay, so but we recommend Windows 10. Now if you can see this is how the setup looks like. The moment you click on that, okay, right now since I already have a setup, I may not be able to install the same, but once it is installed on your PC, you would see an icon over your desktop just like this. Okay, so for example, you will first thing that you would do is you will go and click on create account. User ID can be anything, not necessarily it is your broker account. It is like an individual free will choice, just like you create your email or any other user IDs. So you can create your user ID, you can enter your name. All the fields are mandatory except this last field which says referral code optional. This is a dead field. You don't need to put anything inside this. So you can enter your user ID, you can enter your name, email, mobile number. Make sure that your mobile number is correct because the OTPs will be traveling to your mobile number, which would activate your fully functional 12-day trial if you are a new user. Okay, so once your ID is created, you will have a login credentials like ID and password this way. So I will go and click on sign in. And this is how beautiful the interface of Stoxxo is. You can see a lot of headers over the head, on the top bar, but understand that what is important, what is not. So Stoxxo initially might look to a new user a little complex, a little with the more fields, a lot of things you don't know exactly. That is why we are designing this video, so that we can help you out what is important, what is not important when you're in for the multi-leg options trading with the Stoxxo. So what is important is, like, first thing you would see here, the trading view or true data would be written here by default. You can change that. Okay, so whatever it is, anything, it doesn't matter. This is how your initial screen would look like. Now the first thing would be immediately that I'll move to the user settings, because adding the broker account is mandatory even if you're in to use the live trade simulator. We proudly say that Stoxxo offers you, unlike the dumb paper trading that you have explored till date, Stoxxo offers you the first of its kind live trade simulator for you to do risk-free testing, which we will be exploring now or in the due course of the video. So the first step would be is to add the broker account. In case you are not clear how do you configure your broker account, do you see this help button? The moment you click that, a document would pop up. And you just have to wait for like about 30 seconds or 1 minute, depending upon your internet speed. Let it open up the page. Okay. For example, now if you can see here that how to configure several broker API steps have been explained here. Okay. So whosoever your broker is, we support about 30 brokers, and whatever your broker is, you can follow the steps of integration with the Stoxxo. So now when I'm at the platform, I will be using as a reference a Fires ID. Okay, so I'm logging in the Fires ID here. I will enter. Now user alias can be anything. It can be of my choice, okay? Or you can keep your broker IDs, whatever you want. User ID would always be your broker account login IDs. In the broker section, I will select which broker am I logging in. So right now, as I told you, I'm using Fires as a reference, okay? I will go to my password area, okay? I'll click this. I will go to password and I will enter my password here, okay? So once I'm done, I've logged in. The second step would be just to click on verify API login to get a success. Do you see how beautifully in flick of seconds we have got a success? This is how simple it is to log in to your respective accounts and getting ready to trade with Stoxxo in less than 2 minutes. So it doesn't take long. There are a lot of fields, definitely. So there will be a lot of fields because there are a lot of features, but not necessarily you may be utilizing all of it at the same time. So these are the essential steps that you're supposed to do. Now, if you can see, if you have, for example, your second account, okay, let's say, for example, if I have my own Alice account, okay, for example, I'm just using it as a reference. So Fires and Alice has a common integration process. So when you'll see the document, now for example, these are my two accounts. I'll click on verify API login. Now you can see that my Alice and Fires, both the accounts are logged in easily. This is how we add up the account and be geared up to trade either on SIM. Do not delete the top field because that is your SIM field. If you would notice, user alias is SIM, user ID is SIM, and broker you will select simulated, which is at the end bottom of the list. So now if you can see, all my 3 accounts are logged in, and now I will move on to the strategies tag. Now please understand, keeping this enabled during trial, you are allowed to use 2 broker account of yours at the same time. After that, it would be commercially applied plan. So you can refer to the Stoxxo renewal forms. We will be covering that up as well. Now, if you can see here, you have to keep these 3 enabled. For example, in case if you're not working around with that particular account, you can keep it disabled. But ideally, broker account and SIM should always be enabled. That does not mean that your order will be fired into all the accounts. Okay. Now, how do we control that? How do we select that whether now initially when we are starting up with the Stoxxo, whether I'll be working with simulator or I will be working with the live trade account? We will be exploring that. So third step would be that I'll move on to the strategies tag. Now this area is really important. If you can see here, this tag is nothing but it's a naming activity. You will find by default. You can change that. You can keep your name. Whatever name is convenient, you can do that. If you need, for example, you'll just click below and let's say I'm making a reel. Okay. And if you see here, now this user account, do you see where SIM is written? I will go and click there, and that opens up a box that which user account or accounts you wish to fire. Let's say I wish to fire order into all the 3 accounts, like my SIM as well as my Fires as well as my Alice Blue. So I'll just go and click on this and that's it. I'm done. My orders will be fired into this account. So this is the area that controls basically in which account the order has to be fired. If it is not selected, do not worry, your orders will not travel to real account unless you have defined it. So for example, I created 2 tags. You can have unlimited tags. Now these tags comes in very handy when you have to work around with multiple strategies. Let's say you are getting some signals from TradingView. Let's say you're getting some signals from multi-leg module. Let's say you're working with manual trading, but you wish to segregate your particular respective account on the basis of let's say capital size, on the basis of let's say quantity fire, or you want to segregate and look at the P&L strategy specific. That is wherein these tags come in very handy. So for example, if I'm working around with this tag, okay, now this is a beautiful feature which has been given. Let's say my initial quantity of fire of Bank Nifty is 1 lot, but when I'm selecting the Fires account, I wish that this multiplier should work as 2. Okay, so now whenever I'm firing with the 1 quantity or let's say 100 lots, automatically it will be converted to 200 lots. And let's say for my Alice account, I want this to be multiplied to 3 times Okay, so let's say if I'm working around initially with the 100 lots, so in first account it would go as 100 lots, the primary quantifier. In the second account, the multiplier, it will go as 200 lots, and in the third account it will go as 300 lots. Okay, so that is how, guys, strategy multiplier works, and it's quite helpful when you are willing to work around with your specific account or accounts. So now moving on, that's it. This is the initial setup. That is what is needed. We will be eventually covering up to the field. Now this area, user settings and strategies, have a lot of other fields of risk management, exposure multiplier, a lot of things are there. We will try to cover up a couple of them, but rest you can explore them. You can drag your mouse on that and you will see a beautiful tooltip popping up to help you understand what the field is supposed to be doing. As you have seen in this video, apart from adding, I have not touched anywhere. This is how simple it is, guys, to work around and start with the Stoxxo. So let's begin up to the topic of this video, which is purely about using the multi-leg options module and creating your options strategies. So let's explore that. So now we are good to go and understand the multi-leg options module. But first, as you have seen that I have clicked on verify API login after adding the broker account, and now I will go and click on trading mode. I'll select as live and I'll click on start trading. The moment I do that, herein the prices should start updating. That means your market feed is intact. In case if that is not happening, which means that your market feed is affected, which might result in non-management of your option multi-leg strategies, or may give you certain errors while creating a portfolio. So this is really important for you to check this, that the feeds are working fine. Now, to begin with the multi-leg module, the first step, if you can see here the green button on your left, which says add portfolio. Now friends, this is the area. The moment we click that, a window would pop up, and this is the area wherein we design or control our options multi-leg strategies from. But before that, I want you to check out the settings. You can click on settings and plugins installation. Okay. By default, we give you this ticked, keep running in notification area if you don't want this. Okay. Now the difference is, like whenever I'll click on a crossbar, it will always go to notification, making Stoxxo to be always running round the clock. But if I don't want that, if I want like close means close, I will untick that and I will go and click on save settings. You may keep all these settings ticked, like in case you wish to square off CNC or NRML orders, you have to keep this ticked. In case you want to work in far away strikes, so if you want, you can keep all of this ticked, okay? Or else the specific ones that may imply, you can read about it and you can keep it ticked, okay? So you will go and save settings, that's it, okay? Now, we will begin up with the add portfolio part, wherein we will be understanding the primary and the basic top headers and create a straddle, which would be time based, and then eventually slowly we will be moving to several other features of the Stoxxo. Now, for example, if I wish to create a bank nifty, if you just have to type in the drop down box and you can select it, the script in which you want to trade. Stoxxo will support NSE options, okay, derivatives, and your stock futures, okay, index options. So Stoxxo multi-leg module will not just restrict you to only options, but even you can use it for futures trading from this module. So for example, I've selected Bank Nifty. Now depends upon the expiry date which you wish to trade. Okay. So I have selected for tomorrow, which is the 11th August. Okay. Now, if you can see here, like primary, if I always wish to trade in 5 lots or 10 lots, I'm using it as 10 lots right now. And what is this predefined strategy? Now, predefined strategy is nothing but just a short pull name. For example, like if I say straddle, it just eases my job to quickly pull up the strikes. In case you don't want to use anything, if you're keeping it at custom, then this add leg button comes in handy. If you have added these 2 legs, let's say for example, again I'm creating a straddle. If I don't want to buy, I'll go and click, it will convert to sell. If I don't want a C or a P or a future, it will change according to that. Okay, so this predefined strategy is nothing but a choice of legs as per the standard laws or standard dynamics of what we call as a straddle, what we call as a long butterfly, what we may be calling to an iron condor. Okay, so that is nothing but the selection of strikes. So for example, herein the reference, I'm just pulling up the straddle, keeping things simple for you initially so that you can understand better. Now, if you can see here, the strikes are in the format of ATM 100, ATM 200, ATM 300. Now, many users may be having a demand that they need numeric values like 36,000, 37,000, 38. So do you see this next box which says strike selection, relative or normal, or both? Okay. So if you select normal, it will give you immediately the numeric values. If you select both, you will have a choice of ATM plus 100 ATM level strikes as well as the numeric values. In case if you want to type, let's say you want to type in 1000, so ATM plus 1000 will come up. If you're typing in 37,000, automatically you can do that. So you can simply type into the box, which will simplify your life, and you can easily trade around with the Stoxxo. So for example, I have kept up the ATM just to keep things simple. I want ATM strikes to be automatically picked at a particular time in the morning. Okay. Now, if you want to use wait and trade feature, you can define it in percentage or in points. Okay. So it can be either positive value or either it can be negative value. Like you want to enter when it is 0.5% positive and you want to enter when it is 0.5% negative. Okay, so this is what the field implies. You can read about the same every field by dragging a mouse on the same. In case if you have any further doubt, you have this help document. You see this blue button, you just have to go and click there. But now first we will be moving on to the upper other fields which remain unexplained till now. So we saw that the strike selection was normal, relative or both. Now if you see that underlying, now underlying would be spot or futures. That depends upon you. How do you want your underlying to be assessed upon? So for now I have selected spot. In case if you're trading with equity options, I mean stock options, so spot means NSE cash, whereas if you select futures, it will take the future prices in consideration. So that is what it means between selecting spot or futures. Now, how would be the price type? The price type, how do you want the orders to be placed? Would it be on the basis of LTP if you're firing up order, or else it would be on the basis of bid and ask or bid and ask average? You can again read about the same in detail by dragging your mouse over that field, that what exactly the Stoxxo would be doing in this scenario, or else you can refer to the help document. Now, what is the strike step which is written as 100? It is nothing but, let's say for example, I'm someone who always trades by with a difference of 500 strikes. So nothing, if you can see here, it has automatically changed that and started giving me a differential strike of, like, after ATM I'm getting ATM minus 500, ATM 1000. If I change this to 300 for example, so let's say do you see this? ATM 300, ATM 600, ATM 900. If I change this to 200, it will give me a differential values. That is for your convenience, even if you keep it 100 and you are selecting, because you easily have an option to type quickly in that. So that is entirely a user choice. How do you wish to work around with and what is convenient or suitable to you. So once we have selected this, now it is time to move these two small lovely tick boxes that we see. In case when you're trading with the straddle, let's say one of the leg stop loss is hit, so another leg you want stop loss to be moved to the cost, you can tick here. If you want the trailing SL to only move after SL to cost, you can again tick another box which opens up right next to it. You can see this positional portfolio. We'll be coming to that, but this is purely, if you tick this, it will change the color. This is for your carry forward strategies. If you notice here with the positional portfolio, you will find the square of time and the date and the time. You can change that accordingly. If you wish to drag your portfolios until next expiry like 18th August, you can just go and simply change it. So now today, whatever portfolio I'm firing is open till 18th August. So my target and stop loss would be met if in between it will execute, else it will carry forward till 18th August 1525. So that's what the positional portfolio intends to. Now for better hedge benefits, okay, margin benefits, you need to buy positions first. So that is by default ticked just to help out in case you have a multi-leg portfolio with the sell option strikes as well as buying of the option strikes. Okay, in case of straddle, we don't have that, but still keeping it ticked won't hamper you or your portfolio. Allow far strikes. Now, for example, if you wish to trade in farther strikes like ATM plus 2000, 3000, so up to 4000 we have given here. If you tick that, that opens up. If you keep it unticked, now you can see that the max available is ATM 2000. Okay, so this button is only implied if you require that. Keep it ticked, else please don't. Again, about implied future, there is a rule about the same. You can read it to understand better. We cannot cover up all the feature in one particular video due to the limitation of time boundation of a video, but you can read about the implied futures. The specific professional trader may understand it faster. For amateurs, ignore this unless you understand the logic behind it. Okay, in case you wish to place leg SL at broker. Now guys, this is very critical. Stoxxo supports a lot of multi-leg features. Okay, a lot of features are there, but sending a stop loss at the broker level, okay, has certain limitations. Okay, because you are not allowed to change, you're not allowed to frequently. The advantage with these Stoxxo is when you define a target and stop loss, it is maintained internally, so that you can change as much as you wish to have, you know. But in case if you are gonna be working around with the stop loss at the broker level, so then there are certain limitations which you can either search in the help document. Okay, you see this 17 number point, leg SL at broker. So you have important points to understand. So there are about 13 to 14 points which you need to read and understand in which conditions SL at broker is bound to function and at what conditions SL at broker might not work the way you expect it to be. So make sure that you read this before you tick that option. Okay, that would place orders at the broker in advance. Now again, apart from placing the orders at the broker level, still Stoxxo will also keep it maintained internally as a double security, so that executions are handled swiftly. Now do you see this last box, the target SL entry on per lot basis? Now what exactly is this? Let's say when I'm working around with the premium basis and I've defined, let's say, about 10%, but ideally what I meant was not the overall portfolio, which is like 10 lots, which you can see. So 10% of the one single strike is what I meant. Then make sure that when you're working with multiple quantities, you get this ticked. Okay, this is gonna be calculating whatever values you define. Let's say if you have defined the profit as 2000 or 1000 or 500, so it won't be on the overall portfolio, but it would be on per lot basis. So it is very simple, very clear. You can just keep this ticked in case you are trading with quantity more than one. We advise you to do that, else you might land up into a human error if you don't understand or miss that out. You can see here the value multiplied by quantity as well as the individual leg. In case you wish to refresh the values while you're working and you wish to see the latest price, you can click on this refresh icon. So now guys, we are good to go with a straddle. So herein the straddle is being kept very simple. We are not providing any target and stop loss on leg wise or combined wise. I'm just showing you that how do you place. So once you have selected the straddle, you will select, like every morning you want a straddle to be started up at 9:20 and it should square off at 3:25, for example. You will select the portfolio execution mode as start time, but just one before thing. If you can see here, we can select the order type, whether I want a MIS or an RML. I'll select that. Strategy tag, if you can recall, is the area that controls in which account the order has to be fired. Let's say in this straddle, due to certain reason, due to margin problem or anything, my one of the leg was not placed. So if I wish to keep it or if I wish to exit it, I can select that. Okay. Now, when we say the legs execution as parallel or sequential, you can read about this in the document, but just to sum it up, parallel is like an immediate, straight, simultaneous fire, Whereas sequential is when we place one order, we get a confirmation order IDs, and then we fire up the second leg order. So that entirely depends upon the user choice. How do you wish to work around with? Now, this premium gap feature is a really beautiful feature. Like for example, which I'll be showing you. Let's say right now the difference is more than about 20%. I'm saying that I wish to fire up a straddle, but only and only when the premium gap is within the 10% range. So then only, or else in the format of points. If you add a percentage symbol, it will work by that. If you add a points, it will work by that. So very simple. Once you have clicked that, it will wait for the premiums to come closer or within the range of 10%. The moment it comes, it will strike hard at that moment. So for example, right now I'm just keeping up a straddle, very simple. So I will name it as STR1. Okay. But you might have a question that whether how would the orders would be fired, whether the order would be market, the order would be limit, or the market or the order would be SL limit. Now immediately listening to the SL limit, your minds may flicker around with the standard SL limit orders which are placed at the brokers. That is not the scenario here. The terminology may be common, but the logic is entirely different, and that's wherein Stoxxo takes the edge by giving you a certain level of advancement. So let's say you are placing a market order which is gonna go on immediate basis. If you place a LTP, you can define the price at just of, let's say, 5 points or whatever you want. The third order type is really a smart one. Let's say, for example, I'm telling it a 5 point of limit range adjustment, as well as I'm telling it to wait for 10 seconds in case if within this price or within this 10 seconds window exchange is not filling my order, then I have another box that says, what do you want me to do? Do you want to cancel the order, or you want me to convert it to market? So that we don't miss out any trading opportunity, we designed an advanced order type for your convenience. Okay, so now for example, I'm just keeping it simple for now. I've just selected market, I've selected this. In the same thing implies if you go to exit settings, even in exit settings you have all the 3 order types available for your convenience. Okay, so now I will go and click on save portfolio. That's it, guys. You know, my portfolio is saved. Now every morning I just have to come here. Once my portfolio is made, I will just click on enable, and that's it. If you can see here, my straddle is fired here. If you can see the moving PNL, now you get a very beautiful detailed explanatory window which you will be able to see. If you scroll it down or towards the right, you can see your delta values, theta, vega values here as well, and you also see the combined current value per lot, the current value and the PNL. Not just that, you click on this left plus icon and you get to see which legs were exactly fired. What is the leg-wise PNL? But Stoxxo is known like to give you a lot of more information, like you can get to see PNL per lot is this, whereas your overall PNL is this. You know, you get a very detailed, systematic numerical values for your better understanding, which ideally is not the case with most of the platforms. Now you can see, now let's say I fired a straddle. It's been like almost about 1 to 1.5 minutes that we have fired up. Now if you see here, it has captured the time of 14:27.21. So far my straddle, this was my highest PNL, and so far this is my lowest PNL. Now this comes in very handy when you are working around with time-based strategies. You can actually understand the maximum PNL time, the minimum PNL time, and try to improvise your strategy accordingly, because there is a possibility when you're working with the time-based strategies entries, there is a possibility that your exits can even be better, because that could be a certain point of a time range wherein your PNL is reaching the maximum level. Okay, so that entirely depends on your usability, on your understanding, and that's how you can use it. So if you can see here, the leg-wise PNL and everything has been provided. Now coming to the edit part. Okay, so now this is a portfolio which we designed and we fired, but we have not given a target and a stop loss. So now we will be looking at it, that how do we give a target and a stop loss to a running portfolio, or modify and edit a running portfolio. Even how do we add up a leg to a running portfolio? Okay, so that is what we are gonna be looking now. Now if you can see here, this is the edit icon. The moment I go and click on that, you see that these fields are open. So let's say, for example, now we move on to the target placement, that now I wish to place target on the basis of premium, underlying, strike, absolute premium, delta value, theta value. You can have understanding about the same in the help document, or else you can drag your mouse to understand exactly what that particular field is supposed to be doing. So for now, I'm just selecting the premium. I'm saying that 20% becomes my target here, okay, as well as the stop loss also. You can even put across a trailing target, like, you know, if my profit reaches 2000, lock minimum profit at $1,000, that is gonna be very handy for you to safeguard your profits. You can even do something like this. So that entirely depends upon how you are working around with. The same thing, the same values are available to you in the stop loss as well. But with the stop loss trail, you even get an advantage. Let's say, for example, let's say on every 10% of increase in profit, I just want my stop loss to be trailed by 3%. So you have a trailing SL control here, which you can use that. Okay. So for example, I have removed this. Okay. I'm just keeping it simple. Now, this is, guys, a running portfolio, and we have defined a very simple stop loss as well as target of 10% or 20%, for example. And we just need to go and click on save portfolio. So my values will be updated here. Okay. If you can see here, we have got a SL value, and as well as we have got a target value. Do you see this? Which was 0 earlier. Okay, if we define on the trailing SL values as well, it will keep on modifying it and it will be shown accordingly. So now this is how we add a target and a stop loss to leg basis. Okay, now if I wish to add more leg to a running portfolio, for example, so I just have to go and click on, let's say, add legs. If you see, this is a running portfolio and ATM minus 100. I'm just pulling up the quantities just like that. The moment I click save portfolio, it will fire up those 2 legs. So now my 2-leg strategy has turned into a 4-leg strategy. So this is how you can edit a running portfolio. Okay. So this is how you get a flexibility to manage your position sizing on a better note. Suddenly you feel like that you wish to that the market is turning bearish and you wish to sell a future, for example. The moment you click on sell portfolio, if you see here, we have even sold a portfolio, and this is our moving PNL. And let me tell you guys, on strategies tag, once again I'm going here in the user account, I had selected sim. So now all that you see, what is looking to you absolutely realistic trading, is the first of its kind live trade simulator, which allows you to do risk-free testing with the Stoxxo. So whatever your logic, whatever your thought processes, if you have learned from your mentors, if you have learned from YouTube videos, if you have a self-learner and have acquired knowledge from some books, then definitely you can test them out risk-free, because it is not just about dumb paper trading, it's about the simulation experience that Stoxxo offers to its users. Okay, so now this is how we handle or play around with the Stoxxo, with the time-based strategies, edit the portfolio. Okay, so this is it. Now we will be looking at that to a particular leg. If I wish to add a part quantity or a part exit of a quantity, how do we do that? Okay, or if I wish to square off a particular leg, how do we do that? So for example, if this is the portfolio level, okay, so if you see this part entry and part exit button, if I do that, okay, if I say that, let's say 1, okay, so what is it gonna do is it will add 1 quantity to all the legs that have been fired. This is very primary part and exit at the portfolio level. Okay, but let's say again I will select on part exit and I will just exit on 1 lot. Okay, so again we are neutral, the same as we started. Now the scenario changes here. Now let's say, for example, I need these particular legs are there, for example. Okay, so these are the legs in which now I wish to add up the quantity. Let's say this was the future. Okay, and I wish to fire up. Okay, just one second. Let's say I will take up this leg. By mistake I clicked on square off button actually. So let's say particularly this leg is giving me more profit or loss. Which is the leg? Let's say this one, 38,100. So I'm picking up the third leg, and instead of this blue button I'll click here and I will just go and add 20 more lots to it. One click. Do you see? So my lot size from 11 has gone to 31 now. Okay, and that is the advantage that you get. So if you can see here the P&L, now suddenly you feel like that this is a loss making leg, 38,300. So that's the second leg, and I wish to exit half of it. Let's say I wish to exit, or if I wish to exit the 50%, I can even enter in 50% or in the numbers. So let's say one click, and if you see here that my position sizing is reduced here, so I can go leg wise. Now the third option is, let's say in case of multi-user. Now this is STR1, the user ID. Same if you have another account which I showed you, like I've logged in with 3 accounts, I can edit the moment I click this plus icon. Now this is user account specific as well as leg specific. Okay, so that entirely depends upon you. How are you gonna be adding up the part entry and the part exit? Okay, now for example, if I wish to square off any of the legs for all my certain users, I can just go and simply click on the blue button and that particular leg would be squared off. Do you see this? How beautiful the P&L looks like. But if I wish to close down the strategy at one click, I just have to click here, whatever number of users may be and whatever size of the portfolio may be, it will square off everything at one click. Okay, so that is the advantage that you have with the Stoxxo when it comes to squaring off as well. Now further, we will be moving on to exploring other avenues with the Stoxxo. Now we will be moving up to the interesting topic of working around with straddles on the basis of combined premium basis. So I'll quickly go to the add portfolio. I will select the bank nifty, for example. I will, let's say, select quickly short straddle. Now if you can see here, we have got a value of premium. Okay, now let's say if I'm working around with 10 lots, I will just add it up here. I can refresh it if I wish to see. So this is the combined value and this is the single lot value, per lot value. I will select the target and SL as well, because we will be putting up the target and stop loss on the combined premium basis. Now, if you see this value, previously you saw that in this video that we had put across a start time as a choice to begin with the portfolios. But now it is time that we are going to be working around with the combined crossover premium value. So what I'm going to select is combined premium crossover here. Okay. If you see here that this is negative 398.50. So let's say I wish that make sure that you keep a watch on the values, whether it's negative or positive. Since I'm selling it as negative, if it would have been a buying portfolio, it would have been positive value. So now I'm entering, let's say, negative 400. Now moving on to the combined target as well. So I will go to this target settings. Now this is the area that controls on the combined premium basis. Now this has several fields. If you can see combined profit. Combined profit means like, you can enter simple values like 5,000, 2,000 rupees, monetary values. Okay. If you select combined premium, let's say, 20%, 20 points, 200 points, 30 points, you can define that. If you move on to absolute combined premium, now this is the area of our interest. Now when I'm selling it at negative 400, let's say negative 430 becomes my absolute combined premium stop loss. Okay, negative 370. Okay, just one second. Negative 370 becomes my target. Now moving on to the stop loss area. That stop loss also I will select as absolute combined premium, and I will be adding up, let's say, negative 430. Okay, so this is how. So I'm gonna be naming it as combi. Okay, and all I have to do is click on save portfolio. Now it's giving me an error because I missed to select the date in which it has to be executed. If you want to work around, let's say on Thursdays, specific days, you can select that. But to me right now, since it's a demonstration, I'm just selecting up all the days. Okay, one click and that's it. Now the status has gone into monitoring. It has not immediately executed, if you can see, because it is waiting for its value of -400 to arrive. Okay, so that is very important that you are defining the values, and this is how you work around or set around with the combined premium crossover. So let's say, for example, I'm just changing it to 398 so that if we may see an execution, it is still in monitoring. Yes, now the portfolio is executed. Now, if you will see that accordingly with the combined premium basis, it is gonna manage my target as well as stop loss. So I have set a combined premium crossover value and it is gonna be working. If you can see here, -370 and -430. So this is how the combined premium crossover basis is worked around and set upon. So I hope that this is very simple for you to understand and addresses your queries that how do you work around with the combined premium crossover and set it across. But apart from this, if you want to add up again, leg basis, stop loss and target eventually along with this as well, you can do that. Okay. On stop loss, let's say since it's a straddle, you also have a choice of this tick box. Okay. Like on stop loss, square of only loss making leg. So when it reaches -430, one leg would be profitable, and if you want to keep it open, you can absolutely do that. Okay, so if you tick that box, it won't. You again have a choice of SL wait seconds. Okay, now SL wait seconds, like your 430 is hit, but still you want to wait for 2 seconds or 5 seconds. If it's breaching or it was just a wick based movement, you can define the seconds value here. Now, not just that, in case if you want your combined target and SL monitoring to be real time, so you will come to the monitoring area, if you can see here, and combined target and SL monitoring would be on real time or on candle close basis. That is again entirely your choice. So you can select minute close and you can define, let's say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever you want, you can define that. So this is how the combined premium execution happens. Okay, and if you can see, we have 3 beautiful portfolios running, looking absolutely real. But once again, I'm telling it to you that this is the live trade simulation. This is what gives you an opportunity to test your strategies risk-free. And when you are comfortable with the Stoxxo and you have a hands-on or your strategy is promising, you can simply go to the strategies tag and select the user account and just tick on the boxes, and your strategies would go live with the next consequent fire of the portfolios. Okay. Now, moving on to another very interesting topic, which is execution based on the basis of nearest premium. So friends, in the previous videos, in the previous part of the video, we saw that how do we execute a straddle which is time based. We execute a straddle on the basis of combined premium crossover basis. But now another interesting topic lies, which says that how do we execute a straddle on the basis of nearest premium basis. Now this is quite an important requirement for several users. So we will be looking at and understanding it. So once again, I'll go and click on portfolio. Why am I keeping it separate? As you can even jumble up and club it up, which I will just show it to you quickly in the later part, that how can you play around. But this is step-by-step explanation depending upon your requirement, and that is what we are trying our best to help you understand the several execution formats available with the Stoxxo. So if you see here the Bank Nifty futures, and you will select, let's say once again I'm selecting up the straddle very quickly, and this time it is not this straddle. Okay, so whether it is predefined or not, this time, as I told you that it is on the premium basis, we just have to go and click on this tick box, premium Greek leg. Okay, and I will say add leg. If you see here these 2 boxes, we don't see any more ATM or numeric values coming in. The reason is when this box is ticked, there are other avenues that open up. So let's say, for example, I'm saying a cell C and cell P, let's say I'm saying in 10 lots. Now, when you go and click on the strike selection area, you get a drop down box and you will find premium, nearest premium, delta based execution, IV based, theta based, nearest delta based, which of course you can read about the same values in the documentation, but we will be specifically highlighting the most demanding ones, which are the premium ones as well as the delta basis execution. So for example, in the nearest premium ones, there are two choices. One is premium and nearest premium. Let us help you understand, okay, our previous portfolios. One of the portfolios, the SL is hit and the portfolio has ended. Okay, so now if you see that premium, when I select, now this gives me an opportunity to put in two values. Let's say, for example, I'm putting across 100 and 150. Now that means I'm asking it to find me a straddle, a strike between 100 and 150. What does this depth define? Now from ATM strike, okay, if ATM is at 500, let's say, for example, I want it to go up to 5 strikes. Now if it goes within the 5 strikes upside or downside, because you have a choice whether you want to go ITM or OTM, as you can see. If it is not there, it will not execute the order. This is what the first option implies when you say premium. If it finds, if you increase the depth, you can increase the depth up to 30 in this case. But let's say, for example, I have put across a depth because tomorrow is expiry, so we'll definitely find a premium in this range. So I have selected, let's say, 20 depth here. And now I'm just putting across a premium value, okay, 100 and let's say 150. And I'm putting across a 20 depth. Now once again, we'll select the days, we'll select the execution mode as start time, okay, just to be quick enough, and I will be putting across the premium name here, okay. The moment I click, you will see in flick of seconds, Stoxxo has executed, found the strike for me in what the premium range, and has executed the order. If you can see the LTP of these both strikes, it has picked up 38500C and 38100PE, and it has executed the orders for me. So that is a beautiful experience that we get, because again, once again, your web-based execution platforms, which are commonly or widely available, cannot match with the execution speed of the Stoxxo. So when it comes to execution speed and power or performance, Stoxxo takes the lead here, because not just security, but we even provide you a robust execution. So now if you see that I have executed a portfolio which was in the range of premium basis. Now let us go to the second portfolio, or let me cover it up in the same portfolio. If you can see this leg is ticked. Now we will go to the second field, okay. So this is like a dual interest sharing here, that I'm not creating another portfolio, but I'm also showing you that how you can add up another legs or other defined conditions as in the same portfolio, as well as execute a separate one if you wish to. So now I'm selecting nearest premium. Now understand the difference between this. Now nearest premium job is to do it like a die hard kill, you know, it has to bring it. If you have given a depth, let's say, for example, if you have defined a value of 100 or 10 rupees or 50 rupees, okay, and if you have defined the depth properly, okay, even if your depth was set to 5, for example, or if your depth was set to 2, so in case, definitely from ATM 50 rupees of strike won't be available in 2 depth, right? But still, within the 2 depth, whatever would be the lowest, the nearest premium will get you a sure shot execution. That is what the primary difference is between the premium, that it is rigid. If it doesn't find, it will not execute. Nearest premium is more flexible, that in spite of you giving a wrong inputs, it will still get you the lowest values of execution. So for example, now again, I'm selecting the depth as 20 herein, and I will again say, let's say in 50 rupees, and again the depth of 20. Now, do you want above equal or below equal? You can select that. Okay. So let's say I've selected below equal because I want it to be in below range. That's it. And I will just go and click on save portfolio. Let me change that first. Cell C and cell P. Just one click. And guys, you can see that in flick of seconds, it has found the strikes and it has executed. Now this is the premiums that it has picked up and it has executed for me, that whatever it found the lowest in the depth of 20. So this is the advantage that you get when you play around with the Stoxxo. Not just that, suddenly you feel like, I've again clicked on edit, suddenly you feel like that you want some normal legs to be added. Let's say you want to add a buy or sell PE, sell CE, for example, and you wish to add, let's say, ATM 300 automatically, and you just want to save. So you can untick that and you can even add normal legs to a current portfolio. Now one portfolio can have up to 8 legs. Okay, so like if for example if this is the max limit, let's say I'm putting across a future as well as I'm putting a CE of ATM 800, for example, I'm just putting it across. I will click on save portfolio and that's it. So now I have a 8-legged strategy running up. Now this is the max limit of one portfolio. I can have unlimited portfolios. We do not restrict you like you pay this much so you get this many number of portfolios. This is like you can even have, we have users like, you can even have 1,000 portfolios if you want. You can have 100, 200, whatever your strategy is. I mean, we don't believe in limiting you or restricting you to go by the plan basis, like you pay this much and you get this much of flexibility. No, Stoxxo is an open thing. Go ahead and explore the raw power when it comes to execution, because trust me guys, Stoxxo is addictive, and once you start using it, you will love and admire the efforts of the entire team of Algobaba. So now this was on the basis of nearest premium basis. Now we will be moving on to another topic, which is execution on the basis of delta. Okay, so now in this part of the video we will be looking at that how do we execute a straddle on the basis of delta values. So I'll go and quickly add on the add portfolio. Okay, I will pull up Nifty this time, for example. I'm selecting up again. I will go and click on add premium, add legs. Okay, and let's say this time I'm covering up 10 lots. Okay, or let's say I'm increasing it to 20 lots here. Okay, sell C and sell P, as you can see that. Now I will just select up the order type, the days. I will keep it all ready. I'll name it as DL1. Okay, now we just have to go and select the strike here. Okay, so now we will just go and click here, and you can see that this is the delta basis. Okay, so again in the delta we have given you range choice, just like we gave you in the premium and the nearest premium. The similar way we have given it to you delta basis as well, but for delta lovers, nearest delta is something that they widely prefer and adopt it towards the same. So let's say for example for CE leg, okay, sell C and sell P. For CE leg, the delta of ATM strike would be 0.5. Okay, so it would be positive. In case you want to play around with 0.4 delta, you can define the depth accordingly. The maximum depth to this is like 20, but understand that ATM strike delta is 0.5. So accordingly, if you're defining 0.3, 0.2, you can easily do that, but be more logical. Okay, otherwise it would result into a failure. So let's say for example below and equal I've selected. Now when it comes to the PE delta, okay, I will be entering negative 0.3, and again I'm just changing my depth to 10. Ideally 5 depth is more than enough. Okay, so in one reference I've used 10 just to show you guys, but ideally since the ATM strike delta is 0.5, so 2 strikes delta would be like negative 0.3, which within the 5 range it will be executed. So let's say I will go and click on save portfolio. I will just go and click on enable. That's it. If you can see here, it shows you, grid logs will show you every detailed message that it has picked up the delta and this was the value, and this was the strike. So you can see the execution speed and performance of the Stoxxo, that how swift it is. Now coming up to the another beauty, that how do you place a target and stop loss as well on leg basis as well as on combined basis when it comes to delta. So for example, if you want to place a leg basis execution, you can define let's say 0.1 delta for example, and 0.4 for your stop loss for example. Okay, and that is how you can define on the leg basis. In case you wish to read about it, that how the values have to be inputted, you can definitely take your mouse over here or click on the help document. Help document is something very handy. Do keep it always open, because that would be very helpful and beneficial for you to understand. Now coming to the combined target area, as we saw that we could define the target and stop loss on the basis of combined premium basis as well, but now we can even define on delta value. Let's say I'm saying it 0.1. when it comes to 0.1, I want my target to be hit, and my stop loss would be, let's say, now this is a beautiful thing, like if my delta goes below 0.2 sorry, okay, and delta goes above 0.5, I will just go and click on the save portfolio, and now it is managing my target and stop loss. So for example, if you see, it is showing me that deliberately I had entered a combined value and it has executed and hit the values of delta. Okay, so now every possible thing you can read below in the grid logs, every particular action is being recorded with, if you see, with the seconds, with the milliseconds, everything is well mapped into this module. So that is the advantage when you play around with the delta based execution, whether you play around with the combined premium. Information is something which is really important. If you wish to see the orders, you can just go and click here, one click, and you can just see that whatever orders were fired, what time it was fired, everything is possible. Okay, so this was the delta basis of execution, and we hope you would have understood that how can you execute and have multiple portfolios to manage delta basis execution. So now we will be looking at another interesting topic. Now the market is about to close, so we have very limited few minutes, so I'm going to be real quick. Now the fourth execution type, we saw start time, we saw combined premium, we saw delta basis, we saw the manual mode. Okay, manual mode is nothing but when we select a particular thing, we just have to click the triangle. I'll show you that as well. Now if I just quickly select a straddle here, now I'm putting across a underlying level. Okay, let's say I'm taking up a bank nifty this time, and I'm selecting the execution mode. Now underlying means your primary spot or future, whatever it is. Okay, define. So right now if the price is at 38,278, you can see the ticker here. So I'm entering 38,280 is my execution. Okay, let's say under NAM, I will just put it across, and target I'm selecting again as underlying movement of let's say 38,200 is my target, and stop loss is something which I can put across either upside. Also there is a beautiful feature called loss and underlying range. So let's say I can define any fictitious number here which is not gonna get achieved, but I'm telling it that this portfolio will end if it crosses 38,290, and I'll quickly save the portfolio. Okay, I just have to select the days. Okay, and let me change the time to 16:15 and 16:25 so that we don't see a square off here, and I will just quickly enable it. Now the status has gone into monitoring. The moment it touches 38,280, it will execute my portfolio. So this is an execution module on the basis of underlying level as well. So you have an ample opportunity here that you saw how do you execute on the basis of combined premium, crossover, and several other stuff. Let me just change the value. I can even change the value to a non-fired portfolio. Okay, let's say I've put across 38,270. See, the portfolio has been now executed. Now that is the advantage that we have when we are playing around with the multi-leg module. Okay, so if you can see here, my portfolio was executed. I got a PNL and it was blazing fast because my stop loss also was hit. If you can see here, that combined underlying level SL was also hit. So it is that fast when it comes to execution, guys. Like, it was executed and we were also out of the trade. So that's the power of Stoxxo. And you have multiple opportunities to trade. Further, we would be exploring now the other revenues available within the Stoxxo.